to share with you a story that many of us have lived through. A narrative that is commonplace. So let me tell you about a story. As we are in kindergarten and in the starting out, budding in life, a question is asked. And the question that's asked of us is, what are you going to be when you grow up? Well, we pick these honorable jobs. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a police officer, a teacher, a sports athlete. I wanted to be an ambulance driver. But the older I became, and the story and narrative is that we hit a trap. And the trap is called practicality. Practicality is where all of a sudden, as we're going through this education, society, noise starts filtering in. Practicality starts taking these honorable positions away, and a reality hits. You're graduating high school, you're graduating post-secondary education, and all of a sudden it's, what do I do now? What am I meant to be doing? Over the years, I've mentored and coached hundreds of people, and there's a reoccurring narrative in this. The reoccurring thought on all of this is, oftentimes they feel like a leaf that's fallen into a stream, and that leaf is suddenly guided along by the stream. That is reflective and representative of their life. Because the leaf doesn't control the stream. The stream controls the direction of the leaf, and that's all of the noise that's around us telling us what to do. Well, the words that I like to use is had to do. Because upon graduation, this is the word that often happens. When we're ready to graduate, corporate culture, pay, benefits, none of this will matter to you. You have to take your first job, it's what you had to do. Because we aren't prepared for the next step. I'm going to share with you my journey, which is a common one as a theme. So many years ago, I graduated from post-secondary education. I graduated with a degree in business and political science. And I remember sitting at graduation thinking, what an amazing combination. Who's lucky to get me? I got up, walked across the stage, shook the hands of the dignitaries, walked off, and all of a sudden this giant door slammed behind me. It was a virtual door with no handle because everything familiar to me was behind that door. Now what? I got off stage, I sat down, and I thought, okay, you know what? Business and political science, I'm going to go start what we are meant to do. Apply for jobs. So I went home. Now back in the day, you didn't go online and do this. You actually had to type out a letter, resume, and either mail it off or hand deliver this letter. And I remember going in and saying, okay, I want to work in this bank. I want to work in this consulting firm. I want to do this because I have a degree in business and political science. I'm at home, and suddenly, about a week and a half later, a letter arrived. I opened it up. It was one of the companies. Sorry, we don't have a job for you. I thought, doesn't matter. I got multiple letters out there. Somebody's going to be lucky. Before you know it, another letter arrived. Another letter. And suddenly there was a shift. And the shift became, who's lucky to get me, into, am I lucky to get a job? These are my rejection letters. These are the letters of all the companies, and they're not worthy of throwing on the floor. These are the letters of the companies that said no to me. There are 86 companies and 86 rejections here. And I have to admit, it was a very difficult and trying time in my life because here you are with this attitude of who's lucky to get me and am I lucky to get a job? And I remember every single letter became a nail in my coffin of self-confidence. The only saving grace for me at that stage in my life was, thankfully, these weren't relationships I was trying to pursue. I think that would have been more devastating. But my realization was, this this is the reality that hit. My first job was emptying rubbish bins, mopping floors in a hospital as a janitor. Because this is what I had to do. I wasn't prepared. I have a degree on my wall, and this is what I do. I have such an appreciation for anybody in the housekeeping or janitorial services because that's what I was doing. But here's the thing. Rather than looking at it as a negative, I could have dwelled on this as a problem, but instead I said, no, what is my opportunity here? So instead, I looked at it and I said, okay, what is this all about? Do you know that I learned 3 valuable life lessons from being a janitor? First valuable lesson, my father said, I don't care what you do, you must do the best job possible because your reputation and character is on the line. Do you know that at the end of my shift, there was no rubbish bin left full, and there was no floor left cleaner than at the end of my shift? The second most valuable lesson. There were times that I would get on the elevator with nurses, doctors, and administrators, and there were times that I would not even be acknowledged because you're a janitor, we're not. I know what this feels like. This is why I talk to anybody and everybody, because everybody has a story. Third valuable lesson is not to deal in absolutes. I have a degree on my wall, mopping floors. Rather than dwelling on that, instead I said, but in this situation, there's learning to be had. And it prompted me to realize that there's learning and lessons in anything and everything we do. Now, if I could pull 3 valuable life lessons from being a janitor mopping floors, what are the lessons you can learn in anything that you embrace and that you do? See, my realization is the wrong questions are asked of us. The questions as a society we ask is always based around what? What are you going to do? What do you do? But in fact, the actual question we should be asking instead is, who are you? We never ask that question. And we don't know who we are. Because we're so focused on doing, we haven't understood why we're doing. See, there's this horizon that you are going towards. It's a painted horizon, painted by the people around you that are telling you what to do, and because you don't know who you are going down that pathway. Until you know the horizon within, it's hard for you to get to the natural horizon that is yours. This is your horizon. This is where you're meant to be. And it's all about, who am I? So when I'm mentoring and coaching, this is something I dive into to really understand and appreciate who you are. Because over the years, what I have discovered is this voice within is stifled. We need to make the voice within louder than the noise around us. It's imperative because we are hidden within that voice. It's really all about feedback and reflection, and that's what I do when I speak to students, young professionals, senior executives. We always talk about, what is it that you've done? And, I provide feedback on what they're telling me. But I want them to do a lot of self-reflection, because again, we don't take the time on self-reflection to really embrace who we are. Because what I will tell you is, there is a uniqueness that all of us bring. We are defined by our uniqueness. It's not about conformity, it's about this uniqueness. So how do we figure out who we are? One thing that I always share with people is what I call the 5 core elements. And I've done this over the many years, and I've done this for myself as well. What are the 5 things that guide and direct you in life? What are the 5 things that make up your foundation? I'll tell you why this is really important. It's because if you were to build a house, you need a solid foundation. To build a life, we need a solid foundation. But we've never really taken the time to understand what is our foundation. And when I talk about the 5 core elements, I'm not talking about career. I'm talking about life and career, what makes up that foundation. But people are nervous. And the reason people are nervous is I'm making them choose 5 critical things in life. And they're nervous because they're worried that what if I pick the wrong 5 things? How do I know what they are? What if I'm stuck with these? Well, you're never stuck with them because they will change and evolve as you change and evolve. So don't be afraid to start capturing what these 5 critical things that make up your life, what they are. I'll share with you mine. And this is like fresh paint because I just changed mine about a year ago. I had been holding on to the original 5 core elements for 10 years, going through life and really having some great experiences. But the 5 things for me now, you know what? Servant leadership, story sharing, activator igniter, champion enabler, and community do-gooder. Do you realize that I'm actually working on 13 projects right now? Simultaneously, but all 13 hit 5 out of 5. Now, how do we create this? How did I create it? The most critical piece I would say about this, for you as an individual, is to ask yourself why. So I asked myself about story sharing. Sam, why is that important to you? And then I answer, because I have something to share. Then I ask myself, well, okay, wait, so why is sharing so important? Then I answer by helping people in their journey. If I'm able to help and share, I'm able to help them. Okay, so Sam, why is helping them so important? Well, by seeing success emerge as a result of a voice that activates their voice, it's really rewarding. And I go down this pathway. A lot of internal conversations, but it's about asking why. Look at the courses you've done. What did you like? What did you not like? Why? What jobs have you done? What did you like? What didn't you like? Why? Social activities. What did you like? Didn't like? Why? And you just keep going down this pathway. It's also about reframing things to activate that voice. We have what we call goals. Society asks us to put these goals forward. What's your 1, 3, 5-year goal? People shudder when I say, I don't have goals. I'm not aimless. I live in the world of intentions. See, goals are very linear, 1, 3, 5 years. If I don't know who I am, how can I establish these goals? It's very absolutism. What if an opportunity eclipses in front of this? Do I give up my goal or opportunity? Instead, I live in the world of intentions. Meaning, as an opportunity emerges, it's got to hit 5 out of 5. It's critical. Prime example. 6 years ago, I was never a writer. But as things progressed along, writing started to eclipse into my pathway, and I looked at it. If it was a goal, it wouldn't be a writer. Instead, it was an intention because it hit 5 out of 5. It's also a matter of finding champions rather than directors. There's enough directors out there, people who are telling you what to do. Champions are the people that are going to say, what's important to you? How can I support you? How can I connect you? They're asking you questions as opposed to telling you what to do. Strengths versus weaknesses. All too often, people can tell me what they're not good at. Let's reverse that. Let's start focusing on what you're good at. People think, well, I don't know, I don't want to brag and this and that. No, we need to start focusing on what you're good at. And when I've interviewed people, students or young professionals, and I ask the question, tell me your strengths. First thing they do is they look up to the ceiling, because obviously that's where the answers are. I'm a hard worker. I work well with technology, team player. Oh, and I'm a perfectionist. Yeah, that's it. Like, so's everyone else around you. No, I want to know what is unique and distinct about you. And focus on the strengths, because your weaknesses will never be a strength. Now, bring them to an acceptable level, but really put your effort on your strengths, because that's where it matters. That's your foundation. And all too often, we live in the world of failure. We throw the word failure around too often. Failure is fatal. Failure is final. It didn't work. Do you know what? I don't have any failures. I have many setbacks. It was the exact same thing that occurred, but rather than giving up, I got back up, dust myself off, learned from the experience, and emerged stronger and successful. So let's use the word setbacks instead of failures. I also carry with me puzzle pieces as a reminder, and I always carry a satchel, because what I've done is over the years, I've given thousands of these pieces away to remind people they feel like a single piece of a jigsaw puzzle when I'm working with them. They don't know where they fit in, they don't know how they fit in. And I give them a piece of a puzzle and they think it's ordinary. And I transform it into something extraordinary. Because what I say is, you know what? That single piece, you're so focused on that single piece. Focus on this. Do you realize that if I give you a piece of my puzzle, do you realize that my puzzle will be permanently incomplete without you? Do you realize how important you are? Do you realize how much I need you? And I can see that physical transformation in their face when I give them a piece of that puzzle. What I want you to understand is this journey that we're on. We have to get rid of this had to do. Because what happens is this had to do is something that we have no control over. But then I have conversations on what do I have to do to get to my want to do. And only by making that voice louder can we make it to that next stage. Really what I want you to do is understand, I want you to embrace rejection. Don't fear it. I really want you to seek out who you are. It's important. And also listen to that voice within. Because that voice is telling you what is really important. Do you know what I reflect now? I look at these letters, and I look at them and I say, you know what? If one of these letters would have materialized, my life would be in a different trajectory and I would not be standing in front of you today. I actually don't fear the rejection. Now I embrace these rejections. Because I like where I am, I like who I am, and I like the situations and people I've surrounded myself with. Wouldn't have happened if one of these letters would have materialized. And the second thing that's really important and critical, many of these companies no longer exist. I still do. I outlasted the companies, and so will you. I want to take this opportunity to say thank you for the opportunity of sharing. Please embrace the rejection. Make that voice louder than the noise around. You are meant to do great things, and I look forward to seeing where you go. Thank you.